everybody. Wow. Maggie Lattimore, that was really beautiful. And folks, that's what a real opera star sounds like. We are so lucky that you're here. Thank you very much. I'm Mario Briccetti, Emanuela's oldest son, and welcome all. Thank you for being here. I apologize a little bit for the crowded condition. It was Mom's wish that she have a memorial service here in this building where she spent so much time. So that's what we're doing, because that's what Mom told us to do. Very smart, yeah, thank you. And my role today is to keep things moving, introduce the speakers, and hopefully try and hold it together, okay? So thank you again for all of you for being here. Once more, thank you. Okay, we're going to hear from Margaret again. So that'll be our first speaker today is Corinne Repp. Where is she? There we go. She's president of the Katona's Woman Civic Club, and we have her to thank for her hospitality. My mother was president. Co-president. And thank you so much for allowing us to use the room, and thank you. And thanks for wearing the button necklace. I've seen a lot of them.
Good afternoon. I'm Corinne Repp, co-president of the Women's Civic Club. We welcome you to Emanuela's celebration of life. Emanuela joined our membership in 1995. She immediately became active, serving on the board, attending monthly luncheons, and giving many hours to the thrift shop. The shop was a favorite place. It gave her pleasure to sort through the clothing and the bric-a-brac to find that special purchase. 10 years later, 2005 to 2007, Emanuela served as president of the Women's Club. While conversing at a monthly luncheon, she said, "Imagine me turning 80 and being president." My reply was, "Wonderful, you'll do a great job," and she did. She initiated a nursing scholarship to be awarded to a senior at our local high school. This has continued since 2007. May of this year, 2 recipients, a boy and a girl from Fox Lane High School, received this award. All contributions are funded by donations from the thrift shop. New friendships were formed that kept her busy traveling, playing bridge, attending the opera, visiting museums, and enjoying special events. She loved the company, chatter, laughter, and variety of cuisines offered by the dining out section. 4 years ago, there was an interest in starting a Mahjong section. Emanuela volunteered to give instructions. We had 2 groups of women and 2 instructors. Our table consisted of Emanuela, Shirley, a seasoned player, Betty, and myself, both novices. We took our seats, the tiles were turned over, and Emanuela announced that 3 lessons would be given. That's it. Then we were And then she continued to tell us that her grandchildren learned the game in 3 lessons. Well, the lessons started. The first lesson was total confusion. The second lesson, somewhat clearer. The third and final lesson, we learned that the tiles had a name and that the rules were to be followed. We felt that we were ready for the challenge. Our group was to meet at the Memorial House, but Emanuela preferred the comforts of home, so we played at her place, relishing her hospitality. Our table of 4 met every Monday for 4 years, the last day being the Monday before her surgery. Emanuela excelled in the playing and teaching of the game, having had 50 years' experience. Mahjong has grown since inception. Members meet every Tuesday and Wednesday here at the Memorial House. Recently, Emanuela made a decision to give up driving. She felt safer riding than driving. She met Susan, a neighbor, who would drive her to her various activities. Being retired nurses, they had a special interest and became good friends. Shortly after, Susan became a member and is now vice president of our club. Friday, the last day before summer break, Emanuela and I were working our shift. Sale week was winding down. A brown bag of clothing was a mere $2. With not much to do, Emanuela shopped. A while later, I looked over to see her sitting with a bag filled to the brim on the table. I asked her what she bought. She answered, "Shirts and blouses." "Can I take a peek?" I asked. She pulled out a shirt and pointed to the buttons. Having depleted her supply, she was in need of more buttons to make the necklaces that she would give to friends. And I see women have had it, and I am wearing one of her necklaces, which I will treasure always. She was a caring person, always concerned about the welfare of our members and their spouses. She was most generous to the club in honoring our deceased members and families. Emanuela enjoyed life to the fullest. Every day was a new adventure. Her energy was never ending. Many times she would say to us, "Be good to your husband, you will miss him. Enjoy your husband, you will miss him." The Women's Civic Club has lost an extraordinary lady, friend, mentor, and devoted member who will be missed by all who knew her. Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking about my mother. I know she loved this organization. Thank you for allowing her to spend your time. My mom lived in Mount Kisco nearly all of her life, and my father all of her life. And we're very lucky and proud to have the mayor of Mount Kisco come and talk to us today. The Honorable Michael Cindrich. Thank you.
It's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for my wife to be here. And what many people may not know, even though some of the Bricettis might not even know, and I could never keep track of how or who was related to who, but somehow my wife was related to Emanuela. And I often just referred to her as one of my wife Linda's Italian cousins, because they seem to be related somehow. Anyway, it's an honor for us to be here and share with you a couple of stories, and also acknowledge the fact that we will miss her deeply. My wife and I were in Montauk when I read in the newspaper that she had passed, and my wife said, "Well, we have to go home." And shortly thereafter, I got an email from Vince, and it is what it is. Here we are today. Emanuela was instrumental in a lot of things that happened in the village of Mount Kisco. The senior program, which a lot of Bedford residents, Katona residents take part in, she was instrumental in developing that senior program. She was really part of it. She inspired other people to keep it going, and it's one of the premier programs in the village of Mount Kisco at this time. She did violate the rules occasionally. My wife was 24 years old with a new baby, and she went over to visit Emanuela. And my wife, an artist in her own right, said, "You know, I'd really like to join in this ceramics program." And she says, "Well, just come." And Linda, my wife, said, "Well, you know, it's against the rules. Maybe I shouldn't be here." And Emanuela just replied, "I make the rules." So Linda and my oldest son joined the Mount Kisco seniors. My wife was 24 years old and Emanuela understood at that time, way before her time, the benefits of intergenerational socialization. And, you know, my wife enjoyed her company very much. During my time as mayor of Mount Kisco, we built a new library. And, you know, Emanuela was really a Renaissance lady who was very well educated, inspired others to seek education, as with the scholarship that was just spoken about. She really supported me with this library because everything that goes to a referendum becomes contentious. And when we built the library, other than people that really supported it, everybody had voted against it. But we passed it and we built it. And another rule violation, and I know Julie Bureau was here. Well, I should say first that Emanuela kept me aware of, during my term in office, and I'm still in office, and it's been quite a while, but anytime something went awry, she let me know. I'll get back to when I was campaigning in a moment, but on one occasion, she went to the library. Now, this is Emanuela Briccetti. She went into the library and she forgot her library card. And the people in charge of the library, if you can imagine this, told her, well, we can't help you. So, was she upset with this? Absolutely. But early on, when Angela was alive, I was out campaigning, my first venture going door to door, and I happened upon the Briccetti household. And this is one of the legacy families of Mount Kisco, as far as I'm concerned. And of course, she invited us in, and you know, this was a ploy. Generally, when people aren't going to vote for you, they invite you in, so you waste time. Emanuela made sure we had coffee, and then she gave us a civics lesson of the Mount Kisco area, and it was very rewarding for me. And she's been a supporter of mine since I first delved into this position I'm in 1995. In any event, again, a Renaissance lady, a legacy, a person that, I guess the word is altruistic, that she gave of herself, asking nothing in return, and genuinely cared about other people. So to the Briccetti family, I just say, enjoy the good memories. And Vince, I know you don't want me to do this, but I have to read my wife's poem. This is Caesar's poem, Remembering Emanuela. You remember her in autumn when leaves gently fall from the trees, and see her smile in the glistening snow in a sparkling winter breeze. And when the flowers bloom in May and the garden fills with color, you will celebrate her life. It can't compare to any other. So when you miss her in summer's day, and when and wish that she was here, you remember how lucky you were all your life to have a mother who was so dear. God bless you. I spoke at your dad's.
Thanks. Wow, you know, my mom did things I didn't even know about. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is my cousin Lee Briccetti, the daughter of my father's brother Fred Briccetti, and Fred was the best man at my mother and father's wedding. We're very pleased to have her. Lee is executive director of the Poets House in New York City, and will read us the poem, Music is in the Piano Only When It Is Played. Lee?
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to repeat the title again because I think it's part of the poem. Music is in the Piano Only When It Is Played by Jack Gilbert. We are not one with this world. We are not the complexity our body is, nor the summer air idling in the big maple without purpose. We are a shape the wind makes in these leaves as it passes through. We are not the wood. any more than the fire, but the heat which is a marriage between the two. We are certainly not the lake, nor the fish in it, but the something that is pleased by them. We are the stillness when a mighty Mediterranean noon subtracts even the voices of insects by the broken farmhouse. We are evident when the orchestra plays, and yet we are not part of the strings or brass, like the song that exists only in the singing and not the singer. God does not live among the church bells, but is briefly resident there. We are occasional, like that. A lifetime of easy happiness mixed with pain and loss, trying always to name and hold onto the enterprise underway in our chest. Reality is not what we marry as a feeling. It is what walks up the dirt path through the excessive heat and giant sky, the sea stretching away. He continues past the nunnery to the old villa, where he will sit on the terrace with her, their sides touching. In the quiet that is the music of that place, which is the difference between silence and wilderness.